This guitar is so good that I have bought it 3 times now. This is the PRS DGT. This is the core model DGT with birds. This is from 2015. I have bought this exact guitar twice, and then I bought another one. We're going to talk about the DGT in this video. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. YouTube analytics tells us that most of you who watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. So we'd encourage you to do that and hit the bell to be notified when we have new uploads. This is my DGT that I have owned for years. Here's the quick story. I bought this guitar used many years ago. It's a 2015 model. It's a non-tin top. With birds. I don't know why, but I decided along the way that I was going to sell it. So I sold the guitar, and I've owned and sold many guitars over the years. There are not many guitars that I've sold that I truly regret. This is one that I truly regretted selling. Years later, I got an email, and I opened it up, and it said, "Hey, I play on a worship team at a church with the gentleman that you sold your DGT to. He's looking to sell it. Would you be interested in buying it back?" I said, absolutely, yes, I would. So he put me in contact with the gentleman that I sold the guitar to originally, and we came to a deal, and I got my old DGT back. So I bought this specific guitar with this serial number twice, and I love this guitar. The DGT is one of my all-time favorites of the PRS. It's probably my favorite PRS guitar. And we'll talk about the DGT model in a bit, but I have to show you, I did say I bought it 3 times. I got to show you the third one. This is the third DGT that I have purchased. This is a semi-hollow limited edition DGT that came out this year, 2024. PRS only built 2,000 of these guitars. So there's a few things about this that are pretty special. One, it's semi-hollow, which is why I was most interested in this guitar. Everything else about it is the same. Same pickups, same control layout. We'll go over all this here in a bit. Same tuners, same, hardware. This is Paul Reed Smith's actual handwritten signature on the top, which is pretty cool. So they're all unique. And then I don't have the backplate with the signature installed, but you also get a backplate with David Grissom's signature. So if you wondered what DGT stands for, David Grissom Tremolo Model. That's what it means. Let's talk about the DGT model. I'll do specs first, and then the story of how the DGT came to be is pretty interesting to me, so I'll talk about that as well. It is a mahogany body, back, and a maple top, in this case a flamed maple top. Actually on this one you can see kind of how thick that maple top is. 2 DGT humbuckers. So this is the only model where you can get these pickups. and they're very sought after. The PRS doesn't sell them individually at all. And the pickups were developed by David Grissom and Paul Reed Smith to sort of emulate or replicate the pickups in David Grissom's 1959 Gibson 335. So that's the vibe they're going for with the tone on these guitars. Maybe you could argue that this one, the semi-hollow, might get a little closer because its construction is more similar to a 335. The scale is 25 inch. That's like sort of the standard PRS scale. Now the neck carve on the DGT is also unique. There's a few things about it that David Grissom wanted, and it's based on an original McCarty. We'll get into sort of the history of the model. It's based on an original McCarty that David Grissom bought when he was, just sort of getting into the PRS line. It had a particular neck shape. It's got a little more depth to it. Like there's a little bit, it's kind of chunky. It's not super wide. I find it very comfortable. It is a little more neck material than like maybe their pattern regular neck carve, but it's not as big and chunky as the 594 neck, which is their most, their biggest sort of chunkiest neck that they build, which is still very comfortable. We've done a review on the 594 as well. It is the PRS McCarty body shape. So it's got, the classic PRS shape. It's a little thicker than, a custom 24. That is something that you get with the McCarty. So it's a little more Gibson-ish, if you will. So the McCarty is named after Ted McCarty, who was the president of Gibson, in the late 50s and then early 60s, and developed the Les Paul, among others. The McCarty is named after him because it's, it sort of leans more that direction, if you will. So this model is essentially like a McCarty model with a tremolo, with a few other differences. The control layout is a little different. So you can see there's 3 knobs rather than like 2 or 4 that you would get on the 594. So this is volume for the bridge pickup. I almost went neck. Volume for the bridge, volume for the neck. So those are kind of reversed. The reason for that is David Grissom spends most of his time on the bridge pickup, and so he wanted that volume to be the most accessible one. And then you've got tone. Now the tone pot is for both pickups, and it's a push-pull where you can get split sounds from these pickups. This guitar has some of the best split humbucker sounds I've ever heard out of any humbucker guitar. Almost always when you talk about split, we'll let you hear them here in a bit, but almost always when you split a humbucker to get a single coil sound, it doesn't sound as good as like a dedicated single coil guitar. It's kind of really what they went for. On the bridge pickup is a tele bridge sound, and on the neck pickup, a Strat neck sound. So you'll hear that in a bit. Then you've got a standard 3-way toggle, locking tuners on the core model, and then you've got these Ivoroid type buttons, which I really like, the tuning buttons. So I want to play these guitars through all the pickup positions and then split the pickup so you can hear what they sound like just clean. I've also had a lot of questions, since I posted about getting the semi-hollow DGT. Is there a difference in the way they sound? And quickly to answer that, I think there is. If you watch the videos that PRS have made, David Grissom himself said that he feels like there's less low end because of the semi-hollow construction of it. A little bit less low end, and the top end is a little warmer or smoother. I kind of agree with that. It's really hard to hear the difference, like if you give yourself even 30 seconds in between hearing the two of them back to back. But I'll play them both through this rig. This is an Axe-Fx 3. For the clean tones, it's like a Dumble Overdrive Special set clean. And then for some higher gain tones, it's the Dumble ODS with like the Overdrive channel kicked on. So we'll start with this one, the core model DGT. this guitar, this semi-hollow, was a bit of a splurge. I saw PRS released a video with David Grissom where he was playing it. I didn't know what the video was about. I just saw, there's David Grissom holding a semi-hollow DGT. I'm going to check that out. He started playing it and he started talking about how it was available as a limited edition run. I immediately emailed the guy that I know at PRS and I said, I'm interested. Can I get one of those semi-hollow DGTs? What would it take? Then I was informed in the video of how many of them they were making. Only 2,000 of these are made, and how much they were going to cost. And I immediately wrote it like, that's not going to happen. I'm not getting one of those guitars. So the guy at PRS emailed me back, and he goes, actually, I think you might be able to get one. Hold on, I'll get back to you. So then he emailed back a few days later, and he said, we have 2 of them here at PRS. I can sell you one. Here are the tops. So he sent me a picture of both of them. By the way, that was awesome. I didn't even ask for that. So people at PRS are great. So I picked this one out. He said, here's the price. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. So I bought this guitar. This was a bit of a splurge for me. It's not something that PRS sent me. I paid for this guitar. I paid for my original DGT twice. Granted, I did sell it once in between. But like I said, this guitar, it's so good that I bought it 3 times. It is one of probably my favorite PRS model, and I'm a huge PRS fan. So I always think the history of the DGT model is interesting. So if you're not familiar with David Grissom, he is a session player. He's played with different bands throughout the years. He's like a blues rock kind of a guy. I think he's based in Texas. He's awesome. If you're not familiar with David Grissom, go look him up. So the story goes that Grissom was at like a session or something, and a producer asked him, or he was somewhere and someone asked him like what kind of guitar he played. And it kind of came up like that he didn't play a Strat or he didn't have one. And the guy said, you ain't if you don't play a Strat. So I'm not going to repeat what he said here, but you can go watch a video and you can hear David tell the story. So David Grissom was like, I'm going to get, the furthest thing from a Strat and I'm going to play that. And so he ended up with a PRS McCarty model. And so he's playing the McCarty and he really loves it. And eventually he develops this relationship with Paul at PRS Guitars. And they start to develop their own model. And he said he would play this model. It was basically a modified McCarty. He ended up with a tremolo system on it. And he would take it to like sessions with other really well-known guitar players who were not PRS players. And they would always say to him, like, I don't like PRS guitars, but if I can get that PRS guitar, I'd play it. And so they eventually developed the DGT model. And part of that was the pickups that they developed that sound like his vintage 335. Grissom also says a lot in these videos that he used to have a Burst, a 59 Les Paul, a real one, and he would take that guitar and his DGT model to sessions, and he would always blind test the producers without them knowing, and they would almost always, he said always, prefer the DGT model. He also says that his his 59 335 is by far a better guitar than his 59 Les Paul was. But anyway, that's sort of the inspiration for the tone of these DGT models. And one of the reasons I've always loved them in the PRS line is because they have more of a vintage thing going on. I also really like the neck. It's a very, very comfortable neck. So if you, like many people that I talk to, are, PRS has never really been your thing and you like more vintage styled guitars, I really would encourage you to check out a DGT model, whether it's an SE or a core line DGT. They really are fantastic guitars, very consistent throughout the line. They're awesome. And if you do, let me know in the comments what you think. The time has come for me to sell this guitar for the second time. So this one is going to be for sale. If you are interested in this 2015 DGT, which plays and sounds and feels amazing, please let me know. You can reach out or there will be a link below. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.